What's going on, people? Welcome back to another John Sinclair TV. Back again, and it's the match review between Man City against Newcastle at the Ethiad yesterday, when Newcastle got beat by a goal to nil, and the goal scorer was, of course, by Julian Alvarez as well. So I've got two guys with me come back. Paul, hi to you, Paul.
Yeah, John, how's it going? All right.
I'm good, mate. Absolutely great. And Crunk as well, a big Man City fan as well. Big up to you, mate, and congratulations on your win.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Again.
Fabulous. Guys, if you like the video and like what you watch, then make sure you smash the like, subscribe button as well. Super chats are open as well if you'd like to donate what the channel's worth. And if you'd like to become a member, it's just 99p. And we'll be running a competition next month to win £50 e-voucher. And also, I've got a new partnership on my channel as well, which I'm going to come on to in a bit. Also, as well, my channel to be partnered by Tufts Partnership, and also you can buy retro shirts as well, and anything as well to buy. And if you do, we've quoted JSTV, 15% off your order, JSTV 15. These are the shirts you can buy as well. That's the 1920 retro shirt, 1927 retro shirt as well, 1995 retro shirt, Newcastle banner as well. And also, so the Magpie store as well is an online service, and if you place an order, and it's JSTV 10 to claim your 10% off as well. So hoodies, t-shirts, and also we'll be on the competition with Magpie Store very, very soon. And let's go on to some comments. Thanks to the comments as well. Hi to Leslie. I hope you have a good day, Les. Hi to Static. Good luck to you tomorrow night against Palace. And please like and share. Thank you, Les. Unlucky to Newcastle fans. Charles outstanding. We're going to come on to him in a bit. And welcome back to Crunk. Good to see John Cone. Thanks, Alba. I know what she's on about. Hi to Jules as well. Long time no see Jules. Right, it finishes Man City 1, Newcastle United 0. Paul, obviously you saw the game yesterday where we were sort of warming up the match. First of all, tell us about yesterday's game. Give us a little breakdown on the match. What's your views on it, mate?
Yeah, like we said, we wondered what the 11 would be coming into the game. And it was unchanged, which wasn't the biggest surprise, I don't think. I think we all kind of thought that a little bit. The only one I wondered was Lascelles a little bit, but, you know, winning team from the Villa game, so hard to change it, really. And yeah, and then Man City had a few changes, but still looked very strong, you know, on paper. You know, the bench was a bit, you know, it was a bit interesting seeing their bench and thinking, you know, they've obviously still recovering from the game for midweek, but you know, in the end, as we'll get to, I don't think there was a change from Man City in the whole game. So yeah, and it was kind of, you know, it was a strange game for me, because I felt that the first 20-25 minutes, we looked a bit scared to come out of our box a little bit. We looked a bit kind of, you know, it was a good sort of defensive structure, but you know, we went a bit timid, a bit nervous, a bit afraid to go forward almost. And I know City can do crazy things to any team. So I get that we maybe Eddie said to keep it a bit, a bit like that. But judging by his after comments, maybe it wasn't. Maybe the players are a bit a bit more like, let's just keep it quiet. And yeah, you know, we got undone by that finish was, I mean, it was ridiculous, really. Pope did get a bit of a fingertip to it, but yeah, just couldn't really keep it out. I mean, if he saves that, that's a save of one of the saves of the season. If he saves that goal, you know, if he saves the goal from going in, so it's an outrageous finish. And then we just never really, we had a few small things where we just, you know, like we had like the 3-on-1, but Cam Wilson couldn't get the ball out of his feet, and we had like some things, but Edison could have had a deck yesterday for most of the game. Bless him, he was very unchallenged by our strikers. It's a bit of a shame, but you know what? I predicted it yesterday, sadly. Or when did we do the preview? I can't remember now. Sorry. But I
Thursday.
predicted 1-0. I predicted a 1-0, a tight 1-0, and that's what we got.
Sorry, what's the end bit, Paul? Cutting out a bit.
Oh, sorry. I said that I predicted a 1-0, a tight 1-0, and that's what we got.
Exactly. Sorry if I couldn't hear the end bit. I got the first bit, I didn't hear the end bit. I do apologize for that as well. Before we go on to Crunk as well, he's speaking the IV as well. Hi to Trills. With Big Joe out, I would like to see Miley take his place. I think he's ready and better than Longstaff. Calm on the ball as well. And hi to Alan, and hi to I Like Coffee as well. In my opinion, I thought the final third of both teams were actually quite poor, especially the crossing as well. Yeah, I could kind of agree there. I mean, it wasn't great at all whatsoever. I can't even lie. And a draw would have definitely been a fair result. I could have to agree. Big up to Ross as well. Still doing the United Emmy as well. But Ross, I hope you find me it. Yeah, cracking goal by Alvarez as well. We were missing Mathino yesterday. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think we kind of did. See what happens with having back St. James's. That'd be a couple months away. To get perspective, we got beat a Man, won by City. Man, you got beat 2-0 by
Spurs. I think that's tough on Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll find out soon, Leslie. I'm not sure. I think it might be a boy. I don't know.
It was a boy. Yeah, it was a boy.
It was a boy.
He put a picture up, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with Ross, by the way. Don't be disheartened. I kind of agree there because not many teams go to the Ethiad and walk away from 1-0 defeat, more like a 3-4 defeat as well. Crunk, I mean, first off, how impressed were you yesterday? Secondly, how impressed were Newcastle? What's your take?
Okay. Well, first off, I love coffee. This is literally a mason jar full of cold brew. Like, that's how I start my mornings. So it's just all coffee. During the match, I was worried for, the ball to drop. City, we had control, yes, but there were moments just with all the youth on the team, certain players on the pitch, we kind of fell into, I call, chaos. And it was back and forth, very much like an NBA match. It was just kind of no one could really hold on to the ball. And I thought that was going to give Newcastle a chance to score on us. But other than that, I felt very much in control. We did a watch along, and I was probably the most quiet the entire time because I just was trying to see what was going on. Newcastle, you guys played us great. So what I will say is I was more stressed playing you guys than I ever was watching City play Arsenal. So I want to commend you guys on that. I love the way you guys played, obviously, with Shar going down immediately and him playing the whole match. That was very impressive because our Newcastle supporter who was with us, he said that Shar tends to be inconsistently on the pitch. So he definitely thought Shar was going to be off. So for him to be able to do the whole match was great. I actually called Tonali not having as much success as he did the first week because naturally you have that first match. You normally shine on a first match, and reality has to kind of like hit in. And also, Man City is a really tough squad. Pep is probably planned for him and what he does on the squad, and Eddie didn't really have much time to make much adjustments with him, considering he's been there for maybe a month and a half. I don't know. I guess I would just City got lucky. That Alvarez goal was brilliant. Haaland was off. I mean, we'll probably get into it a little bit more, but I'm just very happy to get away with 3 points and just move forward.
Move forward, we certainly will do. Let's go to Cons. We'll bring out our Newcastle team lineup as well. Got one as well from Mr. Wagstaff. Hi to you, Mark. Beat by the better team by the end of the day. Yeah, and what a finish by the Butcher in Manchester. Bless I like coffee. Make sure Julian Alvarez don't hear you say that, coffee, man. Puskas awards to Alessandro Martinez. As well as be after that 10-second shot got in, Jerry going to come top one as well. Let's go on to the team lineup as well. You, Eddie Howell, decide to pick. And if I just get this up as well, people. And it's having a lot of problems with Twitter in a minute. And there we go. And that is the lineup Paul Eddie chose. It's an unchanged side, which I think is really, really good. And most people would have changed the tactics, play 3 at the back or 5 at the back, not with Eddie. I was quite happy with that lineup as well. I mean, look, Tonali deserved to keep his place. Joe Bruno, we know about. We'll come to Bruno later. Miron for me, going to come on to him later. Definitely. Gordon as well. What's the lineup? Was that team good enough to beat Man City?
I mean, you know, I think on our day we can give anyone a game. We really can. Like, you know, when we are, you know, really at the top of our, you know, danger and like pressing, we give any team a real, you know, real struggle. And I just think, you know, as Eddie said, that we just seemed a bit off it technically at times yesterday. You know, whether it was, you know, the, you know, worrying about it being at Ethiad or, and I tell you, and again, we'll probably get into it a bit more, but like I was saying to you before we went on, the way that Pep celebrated at the end, I'll tell you right now, he tracked that game and I think he really told those players, like you are treating this like we're playing, you know, Arsenal, we're playing Man United, whatever. Like he really, like those players were up for that game. Like they really were. Like, you know, City have had some pretty off performances with Newcastle in the past when we haven't been as good, you know, under different managers. But I tell you what, they were up for that, and the you know, the celebrations at the end showed how much Pep like really liked that win. Like, so I think that's a big compliment, and fair play to him for clapping us at the end. You know, he's always been a class act with Newcastle fans, so you know, fair play to him on that. But yeah, you know, you know, I think if we, you know, on another day, I think, you know, we could beat Man City, but it was a tough game, and like I said, we just didn't, you know, Isaac looked quite isolated up front, and then when Wilson came on, he did a little bit more, kind of held the ball up a little bit more, but again, we just lacked that kind of, you know, that kind of belief that we could go forward. Like there wasn't a lot of, we had like a 5-minute period, didn't we, in the first half, where I thought, here we go, we're getting a bit more joy here and a bit more confidence, and then you know, City just kind of suffocate you with the pressure they give, and then the ball, they have the ball all the time. So yeah, it was one of those where, you know, other performances were outstanding, and Shah and Botman in particular were wow. I mean, Botman as well. He's got a crazy stat against Haaland. Haaland's had the quietest 90 minutes at the Etihad ever under Botman and no one else. So that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Crunk, look at that team lineup for Newcastle United. I mean, which players were you scared of before the game?
Yeah, Isaac and Almiron. I know the whole Jack and Almiron nonsense that was started a couple of years ago on accident. So I figured Almiron was going to show up, and then Isaac is just a baller. So those were the two that I was worried about. On the other end, I was very much looking forward to hopefully City taking advantage of Dan Burn. The fact that you guys use him as a right back is insane to me. He's just so giant and lanky and not the most athletic, but he did great until obviously later in the match when Pep put Phil on him, and then that's when he struggled a lot. But in the beginning of the match, Burn was great.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I looked at the team and I thought this is the team that was finally going to beat Man City, finally trying to get something out of the game, finally make history. And it just wasn't a beat because, look, at the end of the day, right, we tried, but we just didn't do enough, in my honest opinion. I mean, decision-making wasn't great. I mean, we had a chance from Bruno at that chance, and he scuffed it. Summed up this evening as well. I thought Anthony Gordon got a bit frustrated. He's lucky to be on the pitch as well. Very, very lucky, in my opinion. The back four, Paul, were absolutely solid yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, that's the best performances on the pitch yesterday. They really were. Like I said, like Shah, even after, I mean, I thought after, you know, when he first went down, I wondered whether he had done his collarbone in. How he had landed, because he landed quite awkwardly because he put his hand out.
He did.
And and I wondered whether he'd done more damage than he had. Luckily, he didn't. And he had a really good game. And again, Botman as well. I think Botman was probably my man of the match for Newcastle in particular, because, like I said, like he was really strong against Haaland in particular. Really like getting ahead of him at times and being quite physical. Now and again he gets the better of him, but Haaland's a world-class player, so it's going to happen here and there. But Haaland maybe had like 2 or 3 little slights at goal. Again, like Nick Pope wasn't. Again, it was weird. It was a weird game because it wasn't as if like Nick Pope had much to do in the game either. It wasn't like we were holding on for dear life at times. Like we were under pressure for long periods of the match. But again, like Nick Pope didn't make. Again, quote me if I'm wrong. I don't recall him making like a last gasp save in that 90 minutes. So again, like that shows you that we are defensively strong. We just lacked that kind of injection of and like I said before, that little bit of belief of like, hey, we'll flood the box of Man City and get a goal. I think we were too worried about like if we lose the ball that we're going to get over flooded because Foden in particular. I mean, we'll probably get into him in particular as well, but he had one of the best games I've seen him play for Man City yesterday. He was really, really good, like ridiculously good. And it's funny, whenever Man City play next, I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday, he probably, this is Pep, he probably won't even start. It's mad.
absolutely, man. Very mad. We got Foxy, by the way. Hi to Foxy. You go some comments as well before we come on to Crunk's one, Foden. And both teams below par need a moment of magic to decide a game, and Foden Alvarez produced that. We tried our best, but wasn't to be. Not the worst result in the world. I mean, Miggy, we're going to have to mention him as well. I'm sorry, we're going to talk about him. Yes. Afternoon, guys. I will not say we were destroyed. We were beat 1-0, hardly destroyed. It's not 5 and 6 destroyed. That's still correct. No news on Julian's injury quite yet. Coffee, I'm sure that'll come by very soon. Longstaff was probably came on for me. I would have had Anderson on. I thought Anderson was good yesterday. I think he's really good. Hi to Jolly. Hope you're good. This is going to Coffee. And also Fox as well. Only one word from me on the deal. That's some Jolly outclassed. Some fans yesterday were very negative about our performance and singling out Bruno, saying he'd be gone in the summer. Absolute clowns. We're going to come on to it later on as well. We're going to talk about people later on having a go at Bruno. Or I posted on the tweet how many marks out of 10 would you give? Yeah, I didn't have a go. Go look at the tweet again. That is shocking. We're going to talk about Bruno later. And Miggy did one thing he needs to improve drastically for starting spots, in my opinion. That's some truths. Don't let Foxy hear you say that very, very soon. And Edison was dangerous as long balls. He was. He nearly done an assist yesterday. What Bruno out? Bruno out. What a gang of Muppets. And then ASM is here is now going to be Bruno. Leave Bruno alone. He's in the slump like all players at all times. I'm going to have my say on that in a minute. That loss won't do us any harm. Just learning curve. Watch the response against the bin dippers on the 27. If you don't know who the bin dippers are, it's Liverpool. And also, as well, he's as much. He didn't get any service yesterday from the midfield. Leicester says some fans always need a scapegoat. Maybe they should support someone. Exactly. If you don't like it, if you don't want to support Newcastle, F off down the light. That's all I'm going to say. I really want to be Klopp. Just like that guy. You know what? You're not on your own, my guy. Yes. He was City goalkeeper. We could have played some Allardyce team playing long-term tactics. That's with Alan and just chatting to Les. You need a squad that can go 1-for-1 in ability when subs are introduced, and we can do that yet. We are building gradually. We are at a few transfer windows away from a true title contenders. Totally agree. One that isn't so bad as some Colton. Flash needs to cut out the City fouls here from being sent off from the minute. That's Anthony Gordon. 1-0 to Phil's just scored. Mighty Mag tied to you, mate. I hope you're good. And we need a left back pace, and the left wing doesn't have to run stuff ready for 70 minutes. Trolls, we're getting Lewis Hall very, very soon. And Miggy had a below par game like everyone midfield and forward. Interesting to see him getting singled out again. I'm not going to single him out. And hard lines on the women's final against Spain. Alan, devastating, man, devastating.
Yeah,
I want to talk to you, Crunk, about Phil Foden. For me, he destroyed us yesterday in the midfield, right? We are going to say our midfield were poor yesterday. I'm not going to lie, right? Not just Bruno. Joe Linton was poor, right? And Tonali just couldn't get into the game at all whatsoever. But Phil Foden, is he ready, maybe place for the KDB?
That's too soon. I mean, I guess I respect stuff. Man City fans are saying the same thing. Actually, last week when we recorded our episode of Shades of Blue, one of my podmates said that. He was like, it's crazy to see that we could be coming to the end of KDB. And I was like, this is way too soon. KDB's problem is he can't sit down. He injured himself at the end of the City season and then forced to play the Euros, and he played the Euros hurt and was basically just like injected himself with painkillers the entire tournament, and then didn't really rest into the Premier League season last season, and then got hurt but came back again too soon, and supposedly was supposed to rest this summer, but again it was back way too soon. He just needs to sit. That's all I want him to do. If he can just sit, because the way that he plays, yes, he has these like really beautiful thundering runs, but he plays almost in like an old man style. Really, he kind of jogs around. He'll get the ball, he'll turn, and then he starts running. But for the most part, he just passes. He's not really trying to shoot. I think his style translates. But yes, naturally, Phil Foden will be the one to take over. I love him in the midfield. I've always been the biggest fan of that. The way that he just catches the ball with his back to the goal and just turns, and the acceleration and the way that he runs, he's just so elegant. It's just so fun to watch. Yeah, he's man. It's fun to watch. I was shocked. You mentioned earlier how Newcastle's defense, your center back pairings had handled Haaland, and it just got in his business and roughed him up a little bit. He is Haaland, so it's kind of hard to stop him, but I don't really think any of the shots that he had on goal were I didn't think that they were going to go in. I thought it was nice to see him doing these things, because maybe I thought that that's what would warm him up. But good on Newcastle. I think your defensive tactics worked. Unfortunately, your just offensive ones just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely right. Totally agree. I mean, look, the goal came. They should have scored a couple before that, but the goal came when I think Joe Linton made an error, and Foden pulled the ball, crossed the ball back to Alvarez, and he slotted it into the top corner. Even though Nick got a hand to it, I think he could have done a little bit better, but it was a wonderful finish by the Argentine. And this guy's won everything in the book after just one season, and he's done it and celebrated. And then they would have settled the nerves down. They could have got a few more goals. Ireland had a chance and screwed it wide. And you know what, Anthony Gordon as well. He's lucky not to get a red card for that scathing tackle, studs tackle behind the car's arm. Diaz as well. He should have gone for that as well. And Anthony Gordon was frustrated all day yesterday, in my opinion. He did try, but he's frustrated.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked he got the 10. I know that who was it? I guess Almiron could have got that number, or somebody who got the number, but they prefer a different number. So it opened up. But him wearing 10, I feel like, is more pressure added to a young player who already had a lot of pressure in the previous club. So it's a choice.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Jolie could have done better to stop that falling past. But when the ball was cleared, he was all alone, Alvarez. I looked at it again. I'm thinking, how much spaces he's had? Couldn't believe it. He was closing down for that shot. It was a poor goal to concede, by the way. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? It could have been more. Ireland was close again. And, it is what it is, Paul. We tried to come back second half. We started well in the second half. Was the chances, openings, but just couldn't take them.
Yeah, we had some frustrating offensive, pushes forward. We had Miggy had one of his lesser games, but at the same time, I know he didn't do the best, and he does make my blood boil at times. But he did start pretty much all of our attacks at the same time. Like, he was the one with the most attacking intent for most of the game. he was running at the Man City, defence and causing some trouble, maybe a bit too polite, but he's causing some bother. But yeah, it's just that last ball, or he'd run into a player, and then obviously the worst one was the 3-on-1. Wilson gets it, and it's just like, if you calm that down a bit more and you pass it out, we're probably in, like, at least to put a shot on target and make Edison do some work. That was really, really frustrating, because that was, you're not going to get abundance of chances against Manchester City. And that was probably one of the biggest ones in the match. Gordon had a slight chance. He kind of went for a volley and kind of overhit it. I felt Gordon was maybe trying a bit too hard yesterday. That was why he was going into things way too much. I mean, I love the passion, but I think that's something that Eddie needs to talk to him about. That it's great, but same time, like, he knew when Joe took that tackle. I think Joe took the yellow card for I think he thought, oh God, like, Gordon's in a bit of bother here. If I take out, I can't remember who he took out now, but he took out whoever and got the yellow card himself. I think that saved Gordon from maybe a second yellow. And then immediately Eddie was like, Harvey, get the top on. We're getting Gordon off now, because anything, whether Gordon could have said something silly to the ref or whatever, he would have been off, like, no doubt about it. So yeah, I do wonder. We'll probably get not in this one, but another when we do the Liverpool game. I wonder if Gordon will be maybe dropped for a game.
Yeah, I can see that happening as well. I think Harvey Barnes needs to come in, and then maybe, just maybe, you may play Anthony Gordon on the right-hand side and drop Biggie, because I think Biggie had a poor game yesterday. Look, I'm not having to go Foxy, but I mean, he did try, but it's just one of those poor games as well, in my honest opinion. But I hope he comes back very, very soon. And let's go to some more comments as well. Please keep them coming in, please. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And we could dream Alan, that's talking about Everton. Kyle Walker really missed this buddy ASM yesterday, and exactly, he must be laughing. Everton has been lucky to stay up the last 2 seasons. Think you're right, Al. This season, Everton will go do. Listen, at the end of the day, right, I mean, before we come on to that, we're going to talk about the 2 positives as well. Our defence. I mean, the defence as well, Shah and Botman. I thought Shah's tackle on Haaland, not just as a brilliant tackle in the box, it was when I thought goal kick. That tackle kept us in the game. Crunk.
Yeah, I hated it. I know it was City's whole thing. Let's just hold on to the ball. Let's keep possession. Let's try to find our time when to attack. But you guys did a great job at not really letting us get chances. I loved seeing our willingness to make those passes towards Haaland, trying to make those runs. It started off very early in the match. We were doing it a lot and kind of trailed off at the end, and that could have been maybe because of the goal that we eventually got. We just focused more on possession. I have a feeling City are going to have a lot more 1-0 wins this season than we probably have in a very long time. It was funny. Even though City were in control, won the match, the overall feeling that I'm seeing from Man City supporters is doom and dread. And it's specifically, we had the Paqueta deal fall through because he potentially has a betting problem, betting situation that he needs to deal with. We had Diaz, Stones, and obviously KDB. Our bench consisted of four academy kids, and then 2 other players under 22, and then Calvin Phillips, Nathan Ake, and a keeper. That's how we knew there wasn't going to be a sub. If there were going to be subs, the only way that was going to happen is if City ended up pulling ahead by 3 some crazy way. Our joke this season is over or under 72-minute sub for Pep. We know Pep will probably not make a sub until the 72nd minute, and that's if City are up. He has this real big thing about subs messing with the energy on the pitch and the continuity of the players. And sometimes I just want him to make these subs, especially when it was up.
Yeah.
by one, I thought we just needed some extra energy. Yeah, I when I watched this match, I guess I was more watching what City were doing and what City were failing on, not necessarily, I guess, what Newcastle was doing. But I think maybe that's a testament to you guys that I was trying to figure out why aren't we doing better, even though we won the match. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Our best opportunities for Miggy. That's why he stayed on the pitch longer than most. He loves Miggy, Danny. He really does, but bless him.
Oh no, actually,
yeah. Nothing there. Paul, just looked at the boot room, right? And apparently, according to Sam Matthews, TalkSport commentator, apparently Kieran Trippier was furious that Bruno tried to go down the left corridor rather than chipping it out towards the right. Because to keep Trippier onto the ball, he was furious when he didn't get the ball from Bruno. And Matt Facer said there's space on the right side that Kieran is furious that Bruno tried to go down the left corridor rather than shipping it out towards the right-hand side. When there was opportunity to try and find Kieran Trippier, who had made a good dart for the right back, and that was quickly broken down. So Kieran Trippier is not happy with Bruno.
Yeah, and, Bruno, he's a fantastic player. He really is. Like, I'm not going to turn this into slagging off Bruno Guimaraes because he has done phenomenal things for Newcastle. And all this nonsense about his head being turned and it's absolute rubbish. Listen to him talk for more than 2 minutes. He loves Newcastle. He does. So I'm fed up with all this nonsense. He's just a bit. Well, I wouldn't even say off. Like, I thought he was brilliant against Villa. And again, people who were we playing yesterday? We're not playing like a poor team. We're playing Manchester City. They had a big celebration for winning a treble before the game. We're not playing like idiots here. We're playing a great team. And I think some of our fans have got a bit lost with like who we were playing yesterday. Yes, I get that De Bruyne was out. I get that. I get that some of the bigger hitters were out. But there's still, the people on the pitch weren't exactly idiots. They're good players. And Bruno had, he didn't have a good game. I'm not going to say he had a great game because he didn't. But at the same time, if we beat, if we're sitting here and we beat Man City 1-0 instead of the other result, me and you, John, would be saying that all of our midfield had the best game we've seen them have for a long time, because that's what you've got to have to beat Man City. You've got to have literally one of your best games of your season to get anything out of there. So, I think it looks a bit worse because, I think people kind of talked themselves into that we were going to win and quite easily win yesterday. And they got a bit obsessed with them having a midweek game and, a few other things, a few injuries. But Man City aren't dopes. They're not, they're good. They're a great team. And like I said, you can't take away, for me, the thing that impressed me the most is how Pep must have really got into those players, how much that game meant. He really cared about what that game, the result was. So, I think there's a lot of tactics done to make Bruno, a bit less impactful, because any manager known, know his way. That most of our play goes through him, and Pep would have said that. It's one pass, and they're going to get. Kieran Trippier is going to get angry at a pass that's gone bad, but I mean, these things happen. They'll probably fall out in training this week and then make up. Do you know what I mean? It's just football.
I think you should have known Bruno was going to have a bad match the second he showed his hair. That dye job that he chose to have on his head was not the best. Like, literally was like some like teenage put like colander on his head and like the strip. It was just madness. There was a lot going on. I just knew right then he wasn't focused. He wasn't ready for the match.
Nah, agree. You know what it is, right? I'll go over his cons. I'll just touch on Bruno as well, guys. One-time shot on target is embarrassing. You looked hypnotized. We won't win nothing if we have the speaker's mentality. That's on Marco. I think Pep did his homework on Bruno. Good to see Villa.
Exactly.
Good Everton over as well. I mean, the thing is, right, Paul, I'm not going to lie, right? I mean, do you think all the other teams are going to be targeting Bruno now? Are they going to say, you know what, we're going to target him? Do you know what I mean? Bruno now, in my opinion, will be targeted by other teams as well, because they worked him out now. Last season, they didn't quite work him out, but this time they're going to work him out. And I think I said that way in the summer.
Yeah, and this is what teams do. I mean, this is why when we had Maximum, we had 4 players who would surround St. Maximum because they knew that he was our danger player. When teams got to figure out what our tactics were, especially under Bruce, the minute St. Maximum got the ball, whoever we're playing, there's 4 players around St. Maximum because they know that's their danger player. That's now gone on to other players, and Bruno was definitely one of our, he's, if not our best player, one of our best players, and that's something where other players need to take advantage of that, because if Bruno knows he's going to get targeted, then that does free up other players, and that's what happened with St. Maximum, that people weren't really bothered what other players were doing because they're more bothered about him, they're worried about him, and it does free up some space. We have got a decent player who is still coming back from injury. I think we're missing Willock a little bit in that midfield because he brings a bit of energy. And Longstaff, he's not. I don't think he's fit. He didn't look fit yesterday when he came on the pitch.
Well off the pace, did he? Look well off the pace, did he?
He looked well on. And in a game like that, you need stronger players to come on the pitch when we're playing Man City, because that's pretty rough to come on there. But getting people like Willock back and having Longstaff fitter, and Tonali will come into the team more, understanding the league more. These things will happen. But you just naturally, people are gonna, when we play Liverpool this coming Saturday, Klopp's gonna say Bruno's their big player. Stop him from playing.
You want to know what I saw with Bruno? He's getting a lot of the slack, but why he excelled last season, from what I saw in very small amounts, was he was able to be free. He would help on defense, but for the most part, it was let's get the ball and let's start the counter. He's not getting the ball. Like, they're not looking for him immediately. They're looking for Tonali. They're looking for all these other players. And it's tough for him to get warmed up when he would get 30 touches a match, 30, 40 touches a match. I don't think he's getting that same rate. Tonali was supposed to in my opinion, again, I don't know. I saw him coming in to help lower Bruno's work rate back. And Tonali is up playing offense way more than Bruno is. And Bruno's being forced to play the defensive dude, and that's not his thing, which also takes away from instantly turning his brain on to attack. So I think Tonali needs to take a step back. I think I see him doing too much, and he absolutely disappeared yesterday, and that was fantastic to see. I just think he needs to focus on just being the defensive dude and knowing where he needs to be, because he's getting in the way of the other players, and that's what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally kind of agree there. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying Bruno, but I spoke to Tim Vickery on the show about a couple of weeks ago, and he gave him a 7.5 out of 10. He doesn't think he's world class as yet. Make of it what you will, guys, because at the end of the day, he's an excellent class. But I'd have to go with Tim. He's not world class, but he's excellent class. And we need his ankle to be fitter and better really, really soon. So, the second game in, and I wish the fans just get off us back at this moment in time, because do you know what? There's always going to be a scapegoat. It's unfair. We've got to back the team when they play on that pitch.
Yes.
Simple as that. Bruno's up against Rodri and Kovacic. There are no mugs. That's very true. They're a really good player as well. Please, it was only the second game of the season. City had to play us at home yet. Yes, that's very true. Joe looked hungover and worried about Joe Linton when Linton was being terrorized by our fans during Bruce's regime. Did Joe Linton turn to alcohol? No, he did not. He did not. And Kovacic ran to Dave Batty. He's not an exciting player to watch, but I tell you what, he just does the job for me as always. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the chances are poor. I mean, I think you mentioned the second half. I mean, decision-making. Callum Wilson was bearing down on goal. He was just so slow to pass it out. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not going to lie, and nothing came to it. But when Bruno had that chance, assisted by Miggy, when he scuffed that chance, then the result just says it all. that's his performance just says it all, to be fair. And that's, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was. It was. The ball went into Bruno in that attack, and I'm thinking, right, here we go, he's in, and the finish. Oh my life! You're like, no. And this is the thing with teams like and this is we're going to have to learn from this in the Champions League as well.
Agreed,
we're going to face teams where you're going to get 2 or 3 chances, not many. We're not playing like when we played Leicester last season or Tottenham when they weren't as good. Tottenham look a bit more at it now. But we're not going to get all these big chances, with all these big gaps all the time. We're going to be playing teams that are defensively set up as well, and chances like Bruno had, and when Wilson just didn't get it right. Those are the things that could, those things change it. If Wilson plays the right ball, like I said, potentially 1-1. Potentially, if Bruno hits that right and he has more time again, potentially you end with a 1-1. These are the moments that Newcastle are going to have to learn from. Every team that wants to be a big team in this league has learned from that. As we said in the last podcast, Man City didn't start the best when they were taken over. They learned from some pretty poor results at the start, and they had some players who were there for no other reason than the big money, who didn't care about City. It wasn't anything to do about City. It was more the paycheck. But now they have a manager who cares, and a manager who has really brought on some players to world class players. And again, like he people like Phil Foden, like the career he's had thanks to Pep Guardiola is just unbelievable. Like these players, you wonder like if Mark Hughes was still there to this day. Phil Foden, would he be who he? Just don't know. I'm sorry, Mark, but Pep is just one of these managers that just gets us at players, and we are still looking for that. Eddie's doing a great job, absolutely.
Yes.
And these are things where next time at the Etihad we'll go with a bit more knowledge about that and be like, right, guys, last time we had these 3 chances. We know that the next time we go up there, we're going to have to take advantage of that. We can't, as you saw, both of you, like both teams gave the ball away a lot, but we were so, when we were attacking, that's the thing we kept doing. We kept giving the ball away or making that wrong decision in the last third of the game. And if we draw people like Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid or all these teams that we could potentially get in the Champions League. It's the same difference, when we go to their grounds that are going to be imposing grounds. If we get a chance, we have, you have to take it, or you come away with nothing, which is sadly what happened.
100%. Because at the end of the day, you mentioned Champions League. I mean, we've got to be wiser when you get the draws. We could face PSG, Real Madrid, Milan, Newcastle, group of death. Yeah, but I'll take that because we're not going to win it. But we take that. We just go out and enjoy ourselves. You know what I mean? Learn from it. Learn from the experience. Come back a better team players next time. Hi to Chris. I hope you're good, mate. City averaged 3 goals a game. We give a good account of ourselves and kept the best striker in the world quiet. He did have a few chances, by the way. Not many teams will do that this season. Exactly right. Chris, absolutely spot on this. Tim Vicky loves Miggy. He does. Did you watch a Villa match? Did you watch a Villa match? Because if you did, you see Tonali can play anywhere on the pitch and not having a dig at all, just stating the facts from the Villa game. I mean, he didn't get into the game yesterday, in my opinion. I thought, it's just the rest of them wasn't great. None of the midfield wasn't great, to be fair. He did try, but, City's midfield 3 were fantastic. Foden, brilliant. And he did not. Full drinking test. Julian looks hungry at times. Not concerned, there's only 1 game. City had 10 years, tons of money to make that team exactly. We just need 3 or 4 quality players who can go off there and win next season. The thing is, though, it's just FFP. We've been hamstrung by FFP. And we're not going to get 3 or 4 quality players in the summer window. But next season, with the new Adidas coming in, that'd be fantastic. How long has Pep been at City? Is it 6 seasons, 7 seasons now he's been there?
Yeah, 7 seasons, yeah.
I tell you what, I can see him be here for another 7 seasons as well. As long as he's there, then I tell you what, we got a lot of catching up to do. We're winning now if the fans settle for last night's performance. That's from Marco. That's fair enough. Fair comment.
And then someone asked about Villa. I think you guys are going to handle Villa. I don't think they're going to be a problem. I was really hopeful on Villa this season, and I think they're going to do very much like West Ham did last season. Maybe start off with promise and then just fall on their face horribly, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, very true. I think Unai will do a grand job as well. And if you get to play for him, cool. That's fine. But like you said, we'll finish above Villa next season. And I'm going to be brave. We're going to finish above Liverpool as well next season. The season coming as well. And we'll beat them next Sunday as well. I'm confident. I watched the whole game. Pep exploited our 4-3-3 system with the 4-2-3-1 and overloading in midfield. It's why Foden was able to get in the pockets. We got our tactics wrong against the best manager. Do you agree with that, Paul? From C?
Like I said, people do seem to forget who we were playing yesterday at times. We were playing Man City under Pep Guardiola with some absolutely outstanding players, and Pep ain't stupid. And like I said, Pep went into that game knowing, he knows, he said himself at the end, in the little interview they did on BT Sport, that he's fed up with their slow starts to the season. He was saying about how, it's frustrating to, that they've had those times where at the start of the season they haven't been quite themselves, and it's been a bit of a pain to get them up for it later on in the year. And he's looking for them to start off a bit stronger. And it's one of those where he would have said to them, like, Newcastle are going to be a hard team to play, and we need to be at our best because they are probably going to be in the top 4 or in there or thereabouts this year. And we need to take this seriously, because if they get a point, or you never know, 3 points, that potentially, you never know, how the season goes. That potentially could be a difference between winning the title and not winning the title. Those things matter to Pep a lot. So he's a brilliant manager, and it shocks me when people get so annoyed at losing to that. It's very strange. It was frustrating. Yeah, I'm not not going to pretend it wasn't annoying, but I'm not going to pretend we were going to go in there and win 5-1 and steamroll them, because I can't remember a team that's done that to City.
No, yeah, Brentford are the only team that beat us at home in almost 3 years now. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's just that's a record and a half. That it's just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I tell you what, they're the best team on the planet. I mean, it'd be City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, the top 3, and in that order, guys. And look how far we have come with Eddie in 2 seasons. Yeah, absolutely right. He's done a fantastic, unbelievable job, people. Unbelievable job. I think the world of you, and I think of you too, Marco. You're a top guy. But we're winning out with your exception of last performance. I understand you're right. We're a million miles away from City.
If I can
top 4 in a minute, go for it.
I was gonna say, if I can talk some sense into Marco. Well, first off, your avatar is mad wild, Marco. The Michelle Obama meme. But 2, as a Newcastle fan, you guys have a lot of growth to do, yes, but y'all are very close. And I think the way that, and I mean this in the nicest way, you guys are already wrong trying to compare yourselves to City. You need to be looking at yourselves to Arsenal, to honestly just I guess Arsenal. And even then, you really should be looking at yourselves compared to what Brentford, Brighton, and them. And because you guys are the people who have recently had some success, and if you do that and consider you guys the pack of almost the new school clubs, even though yes, I know they're all storied history. I'm not trying to insult as an American. I think you guys should be very happy with where you are, what you've done, the way that the future looks, because even if Eddie Howe isn't the man, that's great. That if he's not actually the manager that you need and you can get someone better, if this is what you're doing with still much growth in your manager, much growth in the squad, I don't know. You guys should be thrilled. And I don't know. I also understand wanting to do more and wanting to be better, but I think your match against Liverpool, they look they look stressed. They look difficult. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun with them, and come whenever the next day after your Liverpool match, you guys will be on here and be like, "Oh, that was such a breeze, Manchester City." So yeah,
Bournemouth
just try
should
to
have been about 3 or 4 up in that first half. Bournemouth just had poor finishing.
Exactly.
So
Their
don't be so tough on
defense,
you
wow.
guys. Yeah.
Their defense was poor. Yeah.
Great. We'll explore that on next Sunday. Real talk, people. Real talk.
Yeah.
Got one from on the Twitter, Neil. Big up to Neil, Manchester_man. If you do listen to my channel, my guy, do subscribe to my channel. We look at how Foden played last night, and that's the new benchmark. And it's all about continual improvement. We go again. That's a flipping good tweet. Flipping good tweets, Neil's view. Bloody good tweet. Big up you, my guy. Big up
I got a little bit more positivity as well.
Yes,
last season we went to the Ethiad and lost 2-0. What was the game after that at St James's Park, everybody? It was the 6-1, should I say. The 6-1 for Tottenham.
Exactly. That's how far we've moved.
Defeats can light a fire under you. So you never know. You never know.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Let's go on to Foxy's comments. Liverpool looked awful yesterday. Dodgy VR decision again for the pen. McAllister suspended. Diaz may be injured. We need to get at them. Totally agree. What happened? I saw that's a shocking dive for Zobslai. Shocking dive. I'm sorry, but that's a disgrace. And that's why the officials scared the Klopp. They can't do it next Sunday until they're laughing out. It was a mentality that was worrying. We have to beat teams like City if we want to win trophies. You're right, but we will in time. We will beat Manchester City. Let's be real. It's like saying we smashed Villa 5-1 and we're title contenders. Now we're lost to the best team in Europe and suddenly the wheels have fallen off. It's just 2 games. Still a long way to go. Exactly, Coffee. You're absolutely right. I agree with you, my guy. Liverpool beat us at Anfield last season. They beat us twice and we still first above them. There you go.
And if I can add on to it,
yes, please,
for the Carabao and the FA Cup and all these other ones, you might not even face us. We can potentially get knocked out by somebody else. And if you know the craziness with United in the final, you guys were so close to winning a trophy, and I think maybe that's just what it is. You guys are just so frustrated at being so close. But City, it took us I think maybe it was 3 or 4 seasons ago. That was when I had that mental flip where I was like, no, we need to treat ourselves like we're big men. We still have a lot of growth to go, but that was just 4 years ago. So that's 8 years into the new Sheik ownership that I was like, okay, I feel like we are actually one of football's elite. So if you guys are, I guess, holding yourselves to this much expectation 2 seasons into it, it took us like 8 years to really get to the world. And I know that time has changed and it's 2023 and all that other stuff. So yeah, I just worry you guys are going to burn yourselves out too soon. There's a whole lot of season to go.
Yeah, I'm going to have to kind of agree there. We just got to develop well, take our time, just win the games. We're going to be top 6 this season. I truly believe we're going to be in top 6 this season. We shouldn't be panicking. We will win games, and then we're going to be not just win, but win well. Most of us Newcastle fans don't, so we are City. We aren't deluded yet. That's true. I like bringing laughs to John's channel. Keep the channel lively. Thank you. That's what we love to see. Keep my channel lively. We robbed at Liverpool last season. I hope it's payback time next week. I'll be up there in Genesis Park as well, doing me vlogs as well. I should be in the Shearers outside first, and then I'll be going to Wonder Bar as well straight after. It's Singing Pub, and I shall be there doing me vlogging there as well. Does your guest, Crunk, sees the Newcastle challenge Man City next 3 or 4 seasons? I truly believe.
Yeah, I mean, I see you guys doing it this season, honestly. I think it's going. Yes, I could see you guys actually winning the Premier League. I think you guys will give us trouble this season, but next season, if you guys continue making the right moves and growing, next season, I really do think you guys stand a chance. And I am, again, let's reiterate what I said at the beginning of the season, or of this episode. I am more fearful of Newcastle than I am of Arsenal. I understand why I should respect Arsenal more, but it's just something about their energy. I don't know. They don't move like people who want better of themselves. They seem like they already think that they're going to win everything. And I don't know. You need much more pain.
Their fans certainly do.
Yeah,
exactly.
They just like give us the league, please. And that's just not the energy you need. And like I said, you guys being so intense and expecting more of your team, that's good. I guess that's good. You always want to hold your team accountable and expect more of them.
Exactly. Just look where we were a couple of seasons ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second from bottom. Ethiad comes in with 5 points. Guess what? Got us 11th, then Champions League. What a run. Liverpool already looked like we can now midfield. And Snow McAllister, we should dominate. Interesting to see if Liverpool buys anyone in the next few days. I've got a guy from the Bundesliga, 30-year-old guy from the Bundesliga as well. Everything takes time, I agree. And I sussed it. Newcastle don't do well against teams that don't play with a high line. Can't take too much from the game, positive, negative. Man City are the best team in the world and have £1 billion squad. No financial restrictions when they came to the scene exactly. And this is why we've been home for it as well.
I don't like all these backhanded compliments you guys are giving. I'm over here saying such nice, positive things about you guys, and you guys
absolutely. Exactly. Marco's right. We have Botman in his back pocket, man. Absolutely. We're in the Premier League club. If you give us Foden, absolutely. Yeah, mate.
Give us $200 million and you can have Phil Foden.
How much?
$200 million.
Yay! And it's non-negotiable as well. Non-negotiable as well. Then he'd probably say, as long as Pepper's there, it tells us to get lost anyway. There's no way you should be selling Foden to us.
I'm just saying, look at the squad Man City had in 2016. Like, I know people want to talk about a $1 billion squad. It's a $1 billion squad after all of our players. It's their current evaluation. When we bought these players, it wasn't a $1 billion squad. A lot of the Akanji, $15 million. Ederson was expensive at that time for a keeper, but he's still just like 50. We have people like Grealish and Vardiol that, yes, have boosted a lot of the stuff, but a lot of our players, Haaland, $50 million, Alvarez, $30 million. I'm just so tired of the whole we flash out money. Bro, we're struggling this transfer window specifically because we are trying to change that mentality. I feel like over the last 2 or 3 seasons, City have flashed our money less and less. Yes, we've made a individual big purchase, but all the other players are like 50 million pounds or less. And I don't know. I'm just so tired of it. It's just like, yes, money's easy, but you guys are seeing, you guys spent so much money over the summer. Chelsea spent so much money. United have spent so much money. Money doesn't mean winning. So stop using our money as an excuse for us to win, because you're just taking away the credit from Pep, the credit from the players, the credit from City Football Group as a whole. And I also think that that mindset about City affects your mindset about how you see your club. Because if you think if City, the only way that they can win is money, then you put that on your club. And club, now you need to spend money in order for you to win. When in reality, it's just, hey, we need to find the right coach, manager for the club. We need to find the right players. We need to find a tactic that fits for our team. There are just so many easy ways to, I guess, smooth over the positives and the negatives of your club instead of just getting down in the grit and being like, how can we get there?
Yeah, that's a fair comment there, because at the end of the day, right? I mean, look, you got to do the best for your club as well. I mean, people say, oh, you got the money. You look, end of the day, we had to accept it. We're hung by FFP. We got Armstrong, yeah? But hopefully we get Adidas coming next season. That'll be so much easier. Do you know what I mean? Because it's coming back next season.
Yeah, commercial profit. Yeah, the more shirts you sell, and that's what I'm saying. For the people who want your team to spend the money, you have to spend the money. That means you guys have to be buying the kits and going to the matches, because the more money that the clubs get commercially, they can then put that out into their team. So I don't know. If you want your club to be about it, you got to be about it. I don't know.
Got it. Bang, bingo. You're right.
And the money argument is such a bad argument, because you look at the spend after the last couple of seasons. Man United they can't say nothing. I'm so bored of them moaning on about the Glazers. They spent more money than anybody else. Literally anybody. Arsenal spent more money than anyone else. Everton has spent more than Man City. So it's a pointless argument, because teams have spent more than Man City. It is a boring argument. Pep Pep is a great manager, and he brings on players as well. And it bores me because, again, like I said in the first podcast, I think that us and Man City fans are actually the closest together because we both have this whole nonsense of like, oh, you spend all the money and it's it's oil money and blah blah blah. It's boring because actually the teams that are more, like I said, Man United, look at that. They've spent billions on that squad, and I tell you right now, they'd be lucky to make it in the top 8 if they play like that all season. They were terrible.
Exactly. They have bathrooms you can't even use. Why are you spending all this money on players? Like, put the money in your infrastructure. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly, man. I tell you what, we're going to be safe now on my channel. Newcastle is going to win the title before Man United will. I will say that right now. I will say that right now. I'm being real here. I'm being straight. 2 million, did you say for Foden? 2 million quid. That might be 2 million in 3 months.
That was you mean billion with a B?
Hey! And Pep still won't sell him. Still won't sell him.
Right? I don't think he would.
I don't think he would. It's not that. The scary thing about Ireland, he had a quiet game and couldn't score a hat-trick. 2 just wide off the post and a right foot shot for Pope save. Correct. Absolutely. I thought Botman was excellent yesterday against him. Absolutely amazing. Foden in the pockets of brilliance. 1-5 can discredit. It's their academy system. Totally agree. They got a wicked.
Made almost $100 million this summer just off of academy sales.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Yeah. We're gonna get one soon as well. Lewis is the answer. Pace and he has stamina. Can't wait for his step. I'll tell you what, Lewis Hall, once it comes to the door, this guy is going to be left back permanently. Your guys are cool. I like the energy. Thank you, Marco. Energy is the word. I love energy. Don't think Hall will play Hall overburn because of Hall's age. Hall pun wrong. I still think he's going to have to watch as well. I don't mind losing it again 1-0, but yesterday, first half, we couldn't pull our soul in the pitch. Eddie said on post-conference, we test our power early league game. Yes, possible as well. Big up to Alan. We are lucky being able to expand commercial earnings in lots of clubs. Got nowhere near the fan base, only handful of clubs as well. Marco's talking to Truls. Burnke's getting owned by pacey players as a worry. And that's the way it is as well. Like I said, a good touch on Fabian Schär. Look, didn't look good for him at all when he landed on his collarbone, but he came out. This guy is a warrior, Paul. He's a warrior. Brilliant game. And Botman as well.
Where was his obligatory head injury yesterday? He didn't have he normally has a head injury every game. He didn't have one yesterday. So that's what happened there. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you, I can't remember who posted it, sorry, but they posted a video back in lockdown, and it was a video of Schär. I can't remember what game it was. We played terrible and lost. And it was him doing an interview, and I remember the interviewer was like, "So Fabian, what went wrong today?" And he was like, "Everything." It was just like, we were really, really rubbish. He used a different word, but he was annoyed. And I remember at the time that the Newcastle fans were like, the minute a good manager comes in, Schär be put in the bin because he was one of our worst players at the time. Bruce didn't like him. He couldn't get a kick under Bruce. And then obviously when Eddie Howe comes in, look at him now. If I wouldn't want this to happen, but if he was for sale, how much would Schär go for now? If we sold him back in the Bruce era, we would have got like £1 million for him maybe. You sell him now, he's worth 80. Certainly with this year, this market now, Schär's worth about 70-80 million now.
Oh, great.
He's come on so much, and like when he doesn't play, we really miss him, and I think it's just amazing to see like how much Eddie gets out of some of these players that a couple of years ago all of the Newcastle fan base, Joe Linton, look at that, another player where we were like, get him out, like we don't he tries his best, we know that, we see he's a nice person, but he ain't good enough for Newcastle. Now if Joe doesn't start, we're foaming at the mouth thinking, what, Joe isn't starting? It's this is what's brilliant. This is what if Eddie Howe goes on to do any big things with Newcastle, I'm not saying that it's the same manager before people get annoyed at me, but we would see him in the same light as a Sir Alex Ferguson. If he wins like any trophy for us, we would idolise Eddie Howe in the same light, because we would just be so besotted with like anyone who brought like that type of like success to our club. You know, and I hope it happens. I really do. I really hope it happens for Howe, because he's put his life and soul into his club. You know, 5 a.m. he starts. You know, he doesn't go until late. You know, when you watch the Amazon documentary, naughty Amazon for letting it out early. You know, he doesn't. You know, he told the story in the last episode about him going on holiday and hating it. You know, because he just wants to be involved in football. You know, his whole life is, you know, getting better and understanding, and I feel lucky that we've got him personally. I feel very lucky that we got a good manager like that.
I found out that I want to, if anybody in England knows how I can watch that, because it's not available in the US and I want to watch it so badly. I don't know if maybe it's going to get released next year. I need to look into it, but I was like, man, I really want to watch this. And then someone was like, it's only available in England. So I know VPNs and stuff like that work. So maybe if someone wants to share their information with me, I'll top it in a VPN and we'll be squared away. But I'm so intrigued into Newcastle and seeing the goings on and the behind the scenes, because it's obvious there are a lot of beautiful things going on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, absolutely right. And, you know, it'd be nice to watch you all over the world as well. But if you do, that'd be brilliant, man. I mean, if you can get that brilliant. If not, I'm sure in the future it's going to come out at some stage. You know what I mean? So, if we can. We'll go some more comments before we're going to wrap up the show. I mean, Admin City on level 2 above us, to be fair. I could have to kind of agree to us in a minute. Give them 3 years' time, would be right up there. And then we trust, just.
Oh, I see that little pun. How long?
Yes. I mean, need to. I'm not sure about the pit, but I know it's probably kind of well. Might watch episode 2 this afternoon. I've got to see if I can watch it to get time of day. Like,
and also, can I be a dumb American? What's a magpie?
Magpie, that's one of the nicknames. It's like a bird.
Okay.
And magpie, so it's like a bird. And Newcastle nickname the Magpies as well. And your Magpies, short for Mags as well. Mags short for Magpies, you know. So it's a bird. Cool. Bad weekend for football. Newcastle and England women losing. Will England ever win a World Cup? Oh man, that's frustrating, man. One day we
not under Southgate.
Amazon Fire Stick.
I mean, I got one, so maybe I'll try it. I don't have it broken in though. It's just like a normal Fire Stick. Yeah.
Just careful what you say, comments, because you'll get John in trouble if you say a certain
website.
Right.
Don't say too much.
Be careful.
Yes, absolutely. Don't say too much. I don't think win will be second of the season, but 4th, 6th is doable. And then next season we might fight for the number 1 spot. I would love to be top of the top. Hit the likes and subscribe. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Magpie's bird like that. Shiny things. Yeah, I love that. You gotta love coffee. You gotta love coffee anyway. And on that bombshell, guys, I mean, we're gonna wrap up the show. And if you like the video, like what you watch, make sure you like and subscribe as well. And Crunk, first off, did you enjoy coming on the show?
Yes. No, this was a great. I very much enjoy coming on and chatting with you guys. Like I said, we are in the same wheelhouse. We are oil money brethren, whether you like it or not. I'm sure a lot of you guys are not going to enjoy being tied to it and all that stuff. But the more, I guess, you try to fight it, the worse it's going to be. So you just really need to embrace that. I also, again, I understand I'm more brash and willing to embrace the heel and the evil and be the bad guy. But
that's why we got you back. That's why you got you back. Yeah.
But I mean, I very much enjoy this. This is great energy. I'm happy to be here anytime you need us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for coming on. But I really do backstage as well. And where could the viewers find you, please, John, so people can know you?
Yeah. So we're on YouTube. It's Shades of Blue podcast. We should pop up. It's just a city logo, but it says Shades of Blue podcast in it instead of Manchester City. We are on TikTok. We're on Twitter. All of the social medias, Threads, all those things. And I don't worry about me personally. Just follow the podcast, Shades of Blue podcast. Just type it in, and we should be able to pop up.
Absolutely, that's what we'd love to see as well. And let's go through the comments before we go on touch on Paul as well. Thank you very much, Mighty Mag. I appreciate your comments, mate. Thank you very much. After I could see, come on, Windows, more elite signing. Right winger, right centre back, we sign. We can force the challenge, and we'll see on that one. And at least Pep has been respectful to our team compared to Klopp and Ten Hag. Correct. And you won't get into trouble. There's literally videos on YouTube telling you IPT service. Yeah, I see what you mean, Stevie.
YouTube, all right, I'll figure it out.
And 120 million wasted on children. That's from Bill. Hi to you, Bill. And big up to Anfield as well. He'll be coming on the channel on Thursday for a chat. So Anfield and Carlos going to come on the channel on Thursday for the match preview, and also Douglas as well. Douglas Horn from Liverpool fan as well. And this ASM last night. That's from Bill. Cool.
No, we didn't.
And, I let the fans start that one. Paul, where can you find you, man? And did you enjoy?
Yeah, the one thing I mean, Sky Sports is it was BT last night, but they missed a trick, and they're missing a trick. When we are definitely 100% title contenders with Man City, they cannot not do the package between us and City and not do the Limp Bizkit My Way like they did with Stone Cold and The Rock. That has to happen. They have to do that brilliant package where they play My Way. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, they'll know, because that is one of the best hype packages of all time. And it needs to be us playing great football, City playing great football. It'll just lead up to to so brilliant like that match would be great. But yeah, it's always great to be on here. If you're desperate to follow someone moaning on about Newcastle, it's at Back Canvas BC. I really appreciate all the nice, kind people have been adding me recently. It's very kind of you. But yeah, no, it's always a good crack. But yeah. And follow John's channel. It's going from better to better. So keep on following it.
Thank you very much indeed. You said it, my guy. You said it as well. And just that'll be a great show as well. Over 20 people watching the show live. Thank you very much indeed. If you're new to the channel, like you watch, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well. And also be back for the next one. Back on Tuesday. Got Bristol NUFC coming on for Toon Talk as well. That'll be a great show. And Monday, I'm going to let you guys know. And back for the preview on Thursday night with Liverpool. Paul will be here. 2 other Liverpool fans coming on as well. And thanks for watching. Before we sign off, make sure you do come on to Toffs, top right-hand corner, Toffs partnership, and check out our new partner, Toffs. Get your retro shirts, toffs.com. 50% off your order, and if you use the discount code JSTV15, and there you go, that's my main one there. And these are the shirts you could, the retro shirts you could purchase. 3 lovely shirts as well. Those on the free. And also, if you go into magpiestores.co.uk, then you will look at all the hoodies, all the t-shirts, and the lot as well, as you can see. So to be one of my partners as well. Thank you very much indeed. And I really appreciate that one as well. And let's go on to more comments for the wrap up as well. Shouldn't really sign the experienced foreign players. Not sure. Oh, come on. I'm not going to read that. I'm sorry, but that's his opinion, by the way. Clippity Club, nervous touchline, very down at St. James's. I hope that is the case.
Let's go. I like that.
Smashing by the way. Playing Newcastle ball possession and bouncing more fluent and 3 mids, view and players' quality plays well. I get exactly what you mean. That's fair enough. And I don't get too much stick. 40 looked lively last night. Each their opinion. Guys, going to wrap up the show. Like and subscribe. And also, if you check out other content, I've done the 6K subscribe as well for 40 seconds. Check out on that. I've also done a little content, Dave Kidd, that's out there. Please take a like on that video as well. And also done and other things on there. So, guys, until then, watch what you're doing. Over the lads.